See that okay?
Yes, looks good, Aaron. Thanks.
Yep.
Good evening.
Kelly,
And welcome.
Kelly
Yep.
would like you to resend that link, David. She didn't get it.
Oh, okay. Aaron, can you get that sent out for us?
Yep, I got it.
Thanks.
Thanks, Diane. I'll go ahead and get started while we wait on Kelly. Good evening and welcome to the Allegheny Clarion Valley School Board Workshop meeting for January 9th, 2023. The AC Valley School Board workshops are conducted virtually, and the link to access the workshop is always posted at the acvsd.org website. During this workshop, I will provide the school board members with information to help clarify agenda items, and please remember the workshops are always open for discussion. So feel free to jump in with questions or comments throughout the meeting. At this time, I'll have Madam Secretary conduct the roll call, please.
Patty Anderson. Terry Armagost.
Here.
Megan Dreher. Brady Fight. Diane Page.
Here,
Jeff Powell.
Here.
Janine Stump.
Here.
Eric Sundling. And Kelly Terwilliger.
Here.
And I see Eric's here. I'm going to ask for Patty Anderson again. Nope. Megan Dreher. And Brady Fight.
Thank you, Tammy. Moving down through the agenda, we do not have anybody here from the public to present this evening. And we do have a number of presentations for the voting meeting on January 16th. We will have the auditor report from Mr. Mark Turnley. We will be hearing from the senior class officers about a 2023 senior class trip. And then we'll also have members from the junior senior high school present information on the 22-23 career day, career classes, and portfolio. And at this time, I'll open it up to see if we have any school board concerns at this time. Hearing none, we'll continue on down through the consent agenda. We have a number of items listed, and I don't plan on discussing each and every one of them, but I would like to direct your attention to page 6. We do have 3 conferences and 1 field trip requested by our staff. First off is Allie Atwood, our K-12 gifted teacher. She's taken a group of students to Riverview Intermediate Unit 6 on January 26th. And there's a cost for a sub and registration that we'll be using the school van. In addition to that, we have the high school special education department, Jennifer Stover, Tracy Hartle, and Peggy Plowman submitting a request 2 years in a row to attend the 2023 Pennsylvania Department of Education Conference. It's located in Hershey, and that will be paid for through the district budget. $3,130.44. The staff members do put that into their annual budget this past year. We also have Bill Jordan, Lori Sherman attending a MTSS administrative overview training at Riverview Intermediate Unit 6 on January 23rd. And there's a $200 cost to the district. That's for subs, travel, and food. And that is part of our special education audit, where there was a recommendation to get the principals updated on various aspects of administrative leadership. And then finally, we have Scott Tullio. He put in to attend a art and cultural meeting in Armstrong County. That's going to be January 25th. And there's just mileage associated with that training. And Aaron, you can take us back up to the consent agenda. Are there any questions or comments about those field trips and conferences? Hearing none, we'll continue on down through the consent agenda. I'm going to skip over letter C through H, because those are just employees asking for unpaid leave. Letter I and J, we have 2 of our parents, Danielle Lutz and Zachary Lutz, submit letters to be volunteers in junior high cheer, as well as elementary girls basketball, respectfully. Letter K is a retroactive approval. We did have the folks from Chapel on the Hill request 2 spotlights during the Christmas program. I did check with our staff, and the lights were not being used, and together we were able to get them out to the Chapel on the Hill for a performance. So just an update on that piece of it. Letter L, we have the football team putting in a request to use the elementary cafetorium on Sunday, January 15th. They want to use for set up and tear down the cafetorium from 11 a.m. until 4 p.m. And there's no cost to that, because that is a program that we offer here at the district. So the district will be covering for custodial charges for the day as well. And moving on to letter M, we have Stacy Fox and the prom committee. They put in a request to use the cafetorium for the annual snowflake dance, February 4th, 4 to 10 p.m. They use this dance as a fundraiser for prom activities. And letter N is a request from the prom committee as well to use the junior senior high school auditorium for Grand March on April 22nd, 4 to 6:30. They didn't provide us with information for where the prom will be taking place this year. So I did check with Stacy, and I'll respond back to the school board members whenever I get that information. Letter O, we have the AC Valley Youth Football Cheerleaders, and Mara Judd submitted a request to use the elementary cafetorium on Saturday, April 29th for the Moms to Mom sale. They'll come in the night before to set up, and this has been a program that we've offered here at AC Valley in the past. Letter P, is the first program, and Maria Clark, they put in for their annual Bingo for Books program. It's February 6th from 4:30 to 7 p.m. And then finally, under the consent agenda, we have letter Q. That's Jessica Nemelli, our elementary art teacher. She runs a elementary art club each spring and is well attended. Last year, I think there was over 40 students who participated. And they'll have this program every Wednesday from February 1st to April 5th from 3 to 4 p.m. And it's always fun to see the kids in here after school hours down at the elementary. Parents always enjoy it as well. Are there any questions of the items under the consent agenda? Moving down to finance and purchase, we'll be paying our bills and getting the cafeteria report next week. Start off with a short discussion about the budget timeline for the 23-24 school year. That's letter J. This is an annual budget timeline that I create, and I'm just going to walk through a couple important dates. Now, as we all know, we have a new governor, Josh Shapiro, and he will be presenting the governor's budget address sometime in January or February. We have not been provided with the details about that. That's always an exciting day here in Pennsylvania, especially for school leaders. Once that address is out there, then we work internally. We start on March 10th, where the business manager as well as the superintendent meets with the principals and department chairs and technicians, athletic director, building and grounds, and we start to develop our site-based budget. Once we have some general numbers out there, the administrators work with their staff members to finalize their budget, and then this information presented to the superintendent and business manager on March 31st. We'll continue to review any kind of budgetary changes in April. Andrea, the business manager, she will continue to build the budget, and we're hoping to present this to the school board on April 10th. And then we'll have the final preliminary budget in front of the school board on April 17th. School board will vote on the preliminary budget as we make adjustments from April into May. So at the May 15th school board voting meeting, we'll approve the preliminary budget. We'll put it on display for 30 days. And then the final part of our budget development will come on June 15th, where we will approve that budget and have it submitted to the Pennsylvania Department of Education by June 30th. That budget timeline keeps us moving internally, but it's also used within our yearly audit as well. Letter K, we have in front of you just a annual approval of the PA State bid list. We use PEPM, CoStars, and U.S. Communities. And just keep in mind that theoretically, these three state bid lists have already done the bidding, and the cost for the items that we're purchasing are the cheapest that we can get it. So we try to use the state bid list as much as we possibly can. Letter L is a resolution in front of you for January, and it's to limit the tax increase to the state index, which is 5.5%. And that's the highest tax increase that I've seen for a good number of years. With that being said, we're approving that we're not going past the state bid or the index from the state for referendum. So it doesn't mean that we're going to increase our taxes to 5.5%. We'll continue to have that discussion internally and have a formal vote this spring. But that's just to state that we're not going past the index. Just wanted to be clear about that. Letter M and N are kind of worked together, and the technology department has met with Jeff and Aaron, and they presented these proposals and are making a recommendation that we proceed forward. First off is a service proposal to update our phone systems here within the district. So the annual cost, or the monthly cost rather, would be $2,618.75. That's going to be a savings of about $242 per month for the district, which is great news. This is a 3-year lease agreement. So basically we're going to lease the phones, and they don't last forever, and technology changes. So every 3 years, if we continue on with this agreement, we'll get new phone systems, and those are new for the classrooms, offices, and anywhere there's a phone in the district. Jeff and Aaron have also been working with Mark Milford, the maintenance director, to ensure that we don't have any extra lines out there that we're paying for and not necessarily needing. So we're fine tuning and becoming more efficient with the phone system. And part two of that discussion is letter N. The safety and security committees have met. We have grant money out there, and we're going to enhance our safety system here at the district with this approval. So this will be tied into the phone system and really help out the school district. Within that proposal, we have 8 IP horn speakers. So we're going to strategically place these outdoor speakers on both buildings so that if we did have a notification or a crisis, whatever it may be, people outside of the building, on the playground, on the track, wherever it may be, will be able to hear the announcements. We also have 12 IP color visual alerts. So these are going to be small colored mechanisms placed in high traffic areas and high noise areas such as the auditorium, cafeteria, the kitchen, the band rooms and such. We're also looking to purchase 2 IP paging adapters and schedulers. We have a very antiquated system that we're using right now, and there's not a whole lot of support. So that'll help tie into the safety system, but also support the school district moving forward. Within this proposal, we have 8 emergency call buttons and 3 IP multimedia intercoms in the amount of $21,635. And we have that in front of you contingent upon the PCCD school safety and security grant. We've submitted the grant a couple different times, and we're just waiting for final approval. Are there any questions about the phones or the safety updates? Moving down to the final item, letter O, that's the joint municipal agreement with the Emlenton Borough to have a school police officer here on campus 10 hours a week through the Emlenton Borough. That'll be $1,500 a month. And again, that's contingent upon the PCCD grant. That agreement is basically the same agreement that we had used for over a decade prior. So with that being said, that agreement also ends on June 30th, 2024, and that'll be the same time that the PCCD grant goes away. And then we can continue on with the discussion and see how the relationship works. Currently, Emlenton does have a police officer they hired, and we're requesting background clearances and everything to have here on campus. So again, once the PCCD grant is approved, then we'll continue on with that relationship with Emlenton Borough. They've been absolutely wonderful to work with up to this point. Moving down into personnel, we have a lot of movement down here. We have a letter of resignation from Mike Weigel. Mike has filled in and helped out with the boys and girls varsity golf program for a handful of years and has done a great job, but he's stepping down. Mike was willing to take over both roles because we couldn't fill the girls' position. So with that being said, letter B and C, we have 2 separate motions to advertise for a vacated boys varsity golf position and vacated girls varsity golf position as well. Letter D is a letter of resignation from Jeff Ginn. He was our weight room supervisor. We'll accept that. And then letter E will be posting for that vacated position so that we can open the weight room back up after school hours. In addition to that, last month we had talked about starting a junior high baseball and softball program. So we're going to be advertising to fill 1 position for each of those programs. So we're looking for a junior high baseball coach as well as a junior high softball coach. Letter H, we're removing Mike Logue from the East Valley coaching staff. Mike actually never started. He was going to be hired on as the junior varsity girls basketball coach, but we're not running that program this year. So I just wanted to be clear and have it made known that Mike is not on our coaching staff at this time. Letter I is a motion to advertise for a temporary part-time 3-hour per day cafeteria position for the spring semester. And then we have letter J, K, and L. Those are employees that have qualified for FMLA leave. All the appropriate paperwork is here on campus, and we'll be working with them as they take a little bit of family medical leave time to support themselves as well as family members. Letter M is a motion to add Sydney Rankin as a long-term special education substitute teacher. I did work through the state and we're getting her an emergency special education certification to work with the 5th and 6th grade students up at the elementary school. Letter N is a letter of resignation from Crystal Long. Crystal was here as a child-specific aide, and we will not be replacing that position. We'll be moving people internally to help cover and support the students and staff members at the elementary school. And letter O is a letter of resignation from Ryan Wambaugh. He's our accounts payable position. Ryan's done a great job here, but he will be moving on. His last day is January 17th, 2023. And then the motion below that will be advertising. We'll be looking for a secretarial / accounts payable position. And in the meantime, I did contact Jody Shakely. Jody retired last year, and asked her if she'd be willing to come back to help in the meantime. Jody's very busy, but she's more than willing to help out in whatever capacity she can provide to us. So with that being said, I contacted Pennsylvania State Education Retirement System. I contacted PESERS and talked to David Butowski about getting Jody permission to come out of retirement and work on a temporary position, and that was granted late today. And then also we have a letter of resignation from Jamie Simpson. Jamie was serving our district as a intervention specialist and did a absolutely wonderful job, and it's going to be very difficult to replace. We'll be advertising for the vacated position, letter R, right below Jamie's resignation. And then letter S, you'll notice that I'd worked with Laura Sherman, the elementary principal, and Brandon Maines, our special education supervisor, and we made a modification to that job description. So we have that in front of you for approval as well. To ensure our compliance with special education needs that we have within the district, we're asking to replace the position, but make it a special education requirement for the person who we hire. This will help not only support the current students that are in the district, but we could potentially look at using this position in the future to take back some of the students that are outside of the district. And so as we're all aware, the intermediate unit number 6 runs a number of off-campus classrooms in various school districts in Clarion County. We have a large population of students in the emotional support program, both the elementary and junior senior high school. So if we can continue to integrate this position and show a need, then I will be presenting more information next school year to the school board as far as possibly opening up an emotional support classroom. As we heard from Megan last month, the life skills and autistic support classrooms are going very well right now. You know, we had to go through some growing pains initially, but we have some very, very happy and well-educated students back here on campus, and wonderful staff members within those 2 departments. Moving down through the personnel items, we're at letter T. That's the updated business manager job description. We haven't updated that for a good number of years, and there's more and more work coming into the district. So worked with Andrea. We have that in front of you for approval. And then we also made some changes to her contract as well to meet this increased workload. And both the job description and the contract is below you. And we're asking that you review those 2 and approve them as well. And then letter V and W, I started in on a job description for our new marching band liaison as well as concert band director. And we've got some changes that need to take place on that. So at this time, I'm going to make a recommendation to table those 2 job descriptions until we get them fine-tuned a little bit better. And we'll hopefully revisit that in February. And then finally, we have letter X. That's a agreement with Slippery Rock University and the AC Valley School District to have occupational therapy students here on campus. These students will be going through their block program, kind of like similar to student teaching. They'll be working with Amanda Barone with her mental health program that she's implementing in here. And also we're getting some additional support from Slippery Rock. So that could be a longstanding agreement that we can continue on with Slippery Rock University, even if the mental health program goes away in the future. Now, we covered a lot under personnel, but are there any questions or comments that need to be clarified under those items?
David, just a question about the resignation for the child-specific aid and not refilling that position. I know that that's been kind of a topic of discussion amongst the board. So I just want to make sure, I mean, we have enough staff that we can realign and not be at a loss with yet another aid position that's not refilled. I feel like we haven't refilled them for a while, and we had postings out that didn't get filled. Just wanted to make sure that that's not putting us at a disadvantage.
Yeah, I appreciate the concern about that. I did meet with Brandon Maines about this particular position, and we did hire an additional aide in one of our autistic support life skills classrooms to work with a one-to-one student. And unfortunately, we were unable to maintain that student. So he's in a outside program, and theoretically, we have an extra aide to cover that. Now, just keep in mind too, and I don't want to speak for the principals or the teachers, but we could use as much support as possible, but we're also, under a budget deficit, and we'll hear more about that on Monday when Mark Turnley shows up. So we're trying to meet the needs of all of our students, ensure compliance with their IEPs, but also be fiscally responsible within that. I do have a meeting coming up on January 23rd with Bill Furco and members from Patan, and that's part of our special education grant that we were awarded. And we're going to figure out exactly how much that grant is. They're going to review our current staffing with me as well, because they truly are the experts within the state. And, as we build the budget for 23-24, then we'll continue to evaluate not only the aides, but all our positions in here. So hopefully that helps clarify some of that, Karen.
It does. Thank you, David.
Sure. Anybody else? Like I said, there's a lot of moving parts under personnel, and I just wanted to be clear with the information this evening. Okay, moving down through, we're under instructional services. We do have a motion to approve Grace Barlett and Kaden McNanny again as school board representatives. They've been on for 2 years, and Dr. Jordan had met with them to make sure they wanted to continue on. So every 2 years, we'll take a look at those positions. I find those kids to be of great help and support here, and really enjoy working with them. And then we also have the second approval of the health and safety plan for the district. If you remember, part of the ESSER 3 money requires that we have a health and safety plan approved and follow it throughout the year. And not only did we approve it in July, but we have to take a look at it, revise it if necessary, and approve it again in January to ensure our compliance with the federal money requirements. With that being said, sent it out. The entire committee reviewed it, and there's no suggestion for changes, but I did add a piece on the final page about facilities protocol. And the only thing I added there was that the EC Valley School District will remain open unless it's required to close due to CDC guidelines. And if there's any kind of closure, then communication will be sent out to the staff community and students as quickly as possible. And right now, things are going very good here as it pertains to the pandemic. So no need for changes in that. I feel like everybody's doing what they need to be doing, and they're staying home whenever they're sick. So moving down through instructional services, we do have a motion to approve 2 new courses at the junior senior high school, and Dr. Jordan presented these last month. And they're basically, the way I understand them, they're going to be year-long reading courses, and we're going to focus in on students' ability to read and be able to understand the content that they're reading. And with that being said, that'll not only prepare them for life, but also prepare them to be better test takers on the 7th and 8th grade ELA, because it is very heavy on reading. And before, it was a rotational course, and it was not year long. So that's Dr. Jordan and his staff putting that in front of you for approval. And then we also have our annual PSBA Principles of Governance and Leadership. That's in front of you. And there's just a few areas that, we want to focus in on as far as the school board and administration. We want to lead responsibly, act ethically, plan thoughtfully, evaluate continuously, communicate clearly, advocate earnestly, and govern effectively. And then each year we just sign off on that and send it back into PSBA. Moving on to page 5 under policy, we do have 2 updated policies. One is brand new and another one's just making some changes to it. So policy 707, use of school facilities. We didn't make any changes to the policy, but on the very last page, attachment A, we did add a facilities hourly fee schedule. And school board members, I do ask that you review that. I collected as much information as I could from the other school districts in Clarion County, and I came up with a fee schedule. And I just want to be clear that there's no cost to any of our student programs in here. And we actually have 4 different levels of cost. And the reason why we're doing this is because we're having more and more people requesting to use facilities. And, we just want to be clear and concise as far as what the charges are. So we have it broken down by the gymnasium, the auditorium, LGI, classrooms, cafeteria, cafetorium, football field, and practice fields and track. And there's just a charge associated with that. And that would be a district charge. And just keep in mind that there is an additional custodian charge, and it's normally 1.5 times their hourly rate. And then under policy 800.1, that's new policy here for the district. It's electronic signatures and records. And if you recall, part of the special education audit, we had a finding as far as not having proper signatures in place. And what's been going on for the past couple of years is a lot of these IEP meetings are held virtually. And once the committee gets together and the IEP team works on an IEP, then we need appropriate signatures associated with that. Once we log off on the virtual meeting, it's been hard to get the IEP, the paper copy, signed by everybody in attendance. So what this will do will really support Dr. Maines as special ed director and get parent signatures, his signature, and everybody within the IEP team as well. So we'll use it with the administration, probably elsewhere as well. But the primary reason we have it in front of you is to ensure compliance with special education meetings. Moving down through the agenda, we do not have anything under facilities at this time. We do have 2 requests from Jennifer Callender Transportation. Jennifer's purchasing a 2011 school bus as a spare bus. She will not be using this during the day, but she'll use it if there's a breakdown or when she can't use her other 2 buses. In addition to that, Jennifer Callender would like to add an additional driver, Jason Hook. And once Jason has all his clearances and meets with Lori Sherman, then we'll go ahead and add him to her roster as well. Under miscellaneous, we have various reports that we'll present next week, but Andrea Stewart, she's part of the tax collection committee, and she submitted the official minutes from the last meeting that they had. So go ahead and take a minute to read a few of those minutes. And if you have any questions or comments about them, Andrea will be available next week at the voting meeting. I know we covered a lot of items this evening. So before we go ahead and conclude the workshop, I'd like to ask if there was any additional clarification needed or any kind of comments at this time.
Hey, David, it's Carrie again. I do have one thing that I wanted to discuss with the board. We can add it under new business, but I was actually approached by a parent this past week inquiring about the yearbook, just inquiring as to the students' participation with the creation of that yearbook. And I know when I was in school, we always had a yearbook committee and, we provided input on, the design for the yearbook and things of that nature. Now that Lucas is doing that, I'm not sure how much student participation we have. But this parent had mentioned, and I'm sorry, I'm pulling up the message now, had mentioned, hold on one second, that Mrs. Forsyth, the art teacher, said that, having students participate in that design work of the yearbook would be a great extension to a digital art class that she is teaching or getting ready to teach. So I know that Bill's not on the call tonight, but just not sure how much student participation we have right now or input with the design of the yearbook, but definitely something to look into. I know we have a lot of students that are very artistic and maybe looking at careers in that type of artistic design. So maybe something that we want to look at.
Yeah, sounds fantastic. I appreciate the input from our community members. I'll have Dr. Jordan report back from the high school as far as the involvement with Cindy King and the development of the yearbook up there. I'm not really sure offhand how much involvement goes in from the students, but I do know down here at the elementary, the cover we vote on each year from the students. So we do have a number of students at the elementary add a little bit of input into that. But I think it's a good time to have a deeper discussion about that as well. So I'll continue to work on it.
Thanks. And now that we do have a local business that is responsible for putting together the yearbook, I was kind of hoping that, Bill could maybe work with Lucas, and get his involvement in coming in and work with the kids on a more direct basis to get their input. But just a couple of things that I wanted to throw out there to the rest of the board. I'm not sure if anybody else has thoughts on that or not.
Thanks, Karen. Okay, I'll do a little bit of work on there, and we'll present some information back to the school board as well from both Dr. Jordan and Lucas. Anything else this evening? Okay, at this time, we'll go ahead and conclude the workshop, and we'll see everybody face to face next Monday at 6 p.m. Thank you and have a great day.